When your relationships aren't working, it has a negative impact on your health, physically and mentally, on your business and your wealth. We expect somebody to know what we're thinking and feeling, and we do the exact same to others. True love is unconditional. There are 6 deadly sins that destroy relationships, and 98% of men are making these mistakes every single day. In today's podcast episode, I will break down exactly what these 6 sins are and how you can fix them fast. After coaching thousands of men, I've come up with a simple formula you can implement right now to have more intimacy and connection with your partner, to communicate better, and ultimately to have better relationships as a modern day man. Whether it's with your partner or wife, your children, or even your employees, you're gonna wanna fix these 6 sins right now. So it's time to purge and kill these fuckers. Alright, that was a bit intense, but I do apologize. I'm excited because this has honestly changed my life. It has created a relationship with Rosie and I where we are able to appreciate and respect each other, and where it affects my business life as well. When your relationships aren't working, it has a negative impact on your health, physically and mentally, on your business and your wealth, because all of your bandwidth and mental energy is directed towards a negative relationship. 50% of marriages end in divorce, and people are simply not happy with their partners anymore. It's not because they're not right for each other, it's because they don't know how to get rid of these 6 sins. So the first one that we're going to be dealing with here is judgment. Judgment is when we apply expectations to someone that we care about, or anyone for that matter, and when they don't meet our expectations, we judge them. We apply a level of shame or guilt towards them as if they should be better, or they should be doing more, or they should be at a certain level. I've done this with my wife Rosie for years. I would finish a long work day, and if the house was a mess or if she hadn't done what I expected her to do, I would instantly go into judgment mode. Now, what's interesting about human beings, and a lot of us have gone through this, is our parents used to do the exact same thing to us. And in my relationship with my wife Rosie, we've been together for 7 years now, her father or her parents would judge her when she didn't perform at a certain level. She's Korean. She's actually born in Australia, but she's full Korean blood. Both her parents are Korean. And in Asian cultures, this is very common. If you get the wrong grades at school, or if you don't go to study to be a doctor or something like that, generally Asian parents get really upset and they judge you. Now, this can be a great motivator in relationships, but it can also cause a lot of trauma. And I know for a fact that because I'm a high performer and my wife's at a different level in terms of performance, that when I show up and I expect her to do something and she doesn't do it, my default pattern is to go into judgment. It's judging her for not doing it the way I would have done it. It's judging her for saying something wrong or doing something wrong. And I apply that label of wrong because as a high performance man, business owner, husband, father, leader, relatively masculine, I think my way is the best way. And most high-performing men think the same thing. But if you keep placing that judgment on your partner, it's going to bring up a lot of insecurity within them. They're going to feel like they're never good enough. Nothing they do is enough. They can't please you. If you do that long enough with someone, you build this relationship or social contract where they believe they can never give you what you want. Now, you can imagine for somebody who has insecurity, trauma from their childhood, or a lack of confidence, how demeaning and debilitating that can actually be. The ironic thing is when we apply judgment to someone, we're applying judgment because we want them to be better and we want an outcome. We want them to do something or be someone or improve themselves. Ironically enough, that judgment that we apply takes us further away from the outcome. So the solution here is a mantra that I've been reminding myself of for years, and it has truly changed my relationship with my wife. It's changed my relationship with my daughter, with my team members and employees. And that mantra is this: love is the absence of judgment. Love is the absence of judgment. True love is unconditional. So when one of my team members fucks something up at work, instead of going into judgment and I would have done it differently or that's not good enough, I try and come from a place of love, which sounds cheesy, but it truly works as a high performer. I'm like, hey man, how can I understand where they're coming from? How can I support them instead of going into unmet expectations and judgment? It's the same in my relationship with Rosie. For example, if she hasn't done something I've asked her to do, the old pattern, which is the default way of being for me, is to go into judgment. You should have done it better. You didn't do it well enough. Now I try to see her perspective and I come from a place of support and understanding. And it has been game changing in our relationship, because in those moments where I'm able to judge, where I would have judged in the past, and I choose not to do that, she sees that I'm supporting her instead of thinking that she's not enough. And that elevates her to become better, to develop herself, and ultimately to become the woman that I love more and more day by day. So the first sin here is judgment. Where in your relationships are you judging people for not being good enough, for not meeting your expectations? Where are you applying judgment? And how is that judgment affecting that relationship? Is it improving it or is it making it worse? For most men, it makes it much worse. The mantra is love is the absence of judgment. How can I look at it from a frame of acceptance and understanding instead of judgment? Just bring awareness to the times you do the judgment and then try and switch it around of how can I understand that person? How can I accept them for who they are and support them in becoming better instead of just judging them for who they are? The second deadly sin is one you and I do all the fucking time, and it's called mind reading. What does that mean? Well, if you've ever watched the X-Men before, there's this guy called Professor Xavier, I don't know if I fucking butchered that, and he sits in a wheelchair, disabled from the legs down, but he has a superpower, and that superpower is being able to see what's going on in someone's head. He can literally enter their head and figure out what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what the language and worldviews and stories are. We tend to do this thing in our intimate relationships with our partner or wife, but also with anyone that we have connection to. We do this thing called mind reading. We think we can know without asking, without clarifying facts. We think or feel that we know what's going on for somebody else. If you've ever had an argument with your partner or wife and you thought it came out of nowhere, that's because you thought you knew what was going on for them in their mind, what they were thinking and feeling. It's so fucking common that we mind read. You should know what I'm thinking. We've been together for years, therefore you should know me. You should know what I like. You should know what I don't like. We attach time frames and arbitrary numbers to this thing that we do called mind reading. We expect somebody to know what we're thinking and feeling, and we do the exact same to others. Now, if you think about this means that you live in a world of pretend. We have 80,000 thoughts every single day as human beings. These are crazy ass thoughts. We've all had weird ass thoughts. If we acted on every single thought, we'd be in jail with a red jumpsuit and a ball and chain. So when you assume what somebody's thinking in your relationship, you're doomed to fail because it's all just a fucking story. Your feelings and thoughts are not facts. So if you're assuming what your partner's thinking and feeling, if they're assuming what you're thinking and feeling, there's only one solution here, and that's to clarify facts. It's to ask questions. Hey, it feels like you're upset at me. What's really going on for you? Hey, I could just be making this up right now, but I feel like you have got a lot on your plate. And you just frame it up as, this is an assumption. I'm assuming that you're thinking or feeling this. Let's clarify the facts here. Let's actually have a discussion and a conversation about what's going on. Now, this is difficult to do in relationships because it requires vulnerability, honesty, and it requires you get out of your comfort zone. I do this with my team members in the business. If one of my team members looks upset after a meeting, I'll go and have a conversation with them. I'll get on a Zoom call or call them and say, hey, I could just be making this up right now, but I've created a story that you're upset about something. 9 times out of 10, they go, yeah, I actually am. And they'll tell me what's going on because I clarified the facts. If my wife is upset at me, or if I think she's upset at me, I'll ask her, I'll say, what's going on? Is everything okay? She might respond with, I'm fine. In my head instantly, I don't accept that. I say, I know you very well. It seems like something's going on. Just tell me what's going on. No, I'm fine. I know you. Listen to the tonality. I know that you're not fine. Have I done something to upset you? Yeah, actually you did that thing last week. It's all about clarifying the facts instead of making assumptions and mind reading. And this is why so many marriages break down. We mind read that our relationship's okay. We assume our partner will never leave. But 50% of marriages end in divorce. How does that happen? Because we don't clarify the facts. So the question to ask yourself today is, in your relationship with your wife or partner, have you got the facts about what they're thinking, about how they're feeling, about whether or not they have laser focus, which we've taught in previous podcasts? Are they feeling loved? Are they feeling appreciated? Are they feeling supported? Are they feeling understood? Are they feeling respected? If the answer is no, or I don't know, or I think so, then you are mind reading. And the way that you fix that is you ask questions and clarify facts of what's really going on for them. If in your relationship you're not feeling those things and people are assuming, you got to tell them. If somebody upsets you or triggers you, you don't yell at them or get angry. You say, hey, I know you didn't intend to do that, but that wasn't okay. I'm not willing to tolerate that. It's all about having open-ended discussions and conversations and getting out of this place of mind reading. Unless you're fucking Professor Xavier, stop doing it and instead go into a place of clarifying facts, asking powerful questions so you understand people and that they understand you. The third deadly sin is probably one of the most dangerous of all, and it is called name calling. It's closely linked to the next one we're going to go through, which I'm not going to mention just yet. Stick around for that. But there's two ways to communicate. There's what you say and there's how you say it. And what you say is the choice of words you use in your relationships. Now, I don't know about you, but in my previous relationship, the one where my partner came home and said, I don't love you anymore, even though I was successful, making money, growing a business and providing, mind reading, assuming that was enough, one of the things that we also did, one of the sins, was name calling. We would get into an argument over something stupid and she would say, fuck you, Tony. She would swear at me. And then she would use my name, which would trigger me even more than just a fuck you. We would get into arguments and say, you're a bitch, or you're an idiot, or swearing and name calling, they go together. There is no way in hell that ever adds any value into your relationship. And a lot of us had this done to us as children. We were told we were stupid. We were told we were idiots. We were told we weren't smart. I have a close family member and I remember watching, them go through where they would, the older person would say to the child, you're an idiot or you're dumb. And I could see that trauma that created it within her. If you or your partner or you with anyone in your life either swear at people or call them names, you know that you shouldn't be doing that. And you get to identify, where does this actually come from? Like, where inside of me is this bully, is this person that persecutes other people through swear words? And I don't mind saying the word fuck, just not directed towards someone, or through labeling them with names. Ultimately, you get to identify, to fix this sin, where is the mirror here in the relationship? Like, how is this coming up for me as a mirror? What part of me is so insecure that I have to swear at someone or that I have to use names to label and describe them? If you're getting value from this content and you want to upgrade yourself, you want to fix your marriage or relationships, you want to find work-life balance, or you want to be successful and winning in life, then SMS the number on the screen right now saying upgrade. SMS upgrade to 0482 097 778. That's +61 482 097 778. SMS upgrade to +61 482 097 778. And what we'll do is we'll send you all of our best content on health, wealth, and relationships completely for free. So SMS the number on the screen right now to get on our list and we'll send you all the stuff you need to win. I know for a fact if I call my wife stupid, if I call her ugly, if I swear at her, that's going to have a massive impact on her confidence. I don't believe those things, but when we get into emotional states, we pull these things out of the ether, out of nowhere. When we get into arguments, we do this a lot as well. As human beings, we tend to pull these things out of nowhere. You get to identify, where does that come from? Does it come from my childhood? Does it come from trauma? Does it come from my parents? Does it come from being bullied? And what part of me, you start questioning the parts of yourself as a leader. What part of me does that to the people I love? So there's a couple of questions you can ask yourself. First one is this: do I swear at people or do I call people in my life names? Children, your partner, your employees. And what names do I call them? What labels do I give them? Stupid, dumb, an idiot, a retard. In school we say fag. If you say this now, you get persecuted as a homophobe. Where in my life do I label people and what language do I use? And the second question is, where does that come from? And what am I trying to mask up? What insecurity? I'll tell you right now, a good leader does not need to rely on labels, calling people names, or swearing to get respect, appreciation, and for people to look up to him. A good leader is able to do that without those labels. I know for a fact as well, if my wife calls me something like that, I'll get really fucking triggered. It's so important to identify these things. And if this is one of the things that you do, swearing or calling people names, it's a massive sin that you must address right away. The fourth deadly sin is tonality. The one before was what you say. It's the words that you choose to use. Fuck you, you piece of shit, you're dumb, using language that is not very supportive or conducive to growth, love, or connection. But then after that is how you say it. There's what you say and there's how you say it. We just spent about 6 weeks in our elite coaching group. This is a group of 180 men, business owners, husbands, fathers, elite performers. We coach these guys daily. If you'd like to be a part of that, there'll be a link in the description down below. But one of the things we focused on for the last 6 weeks that blew everyone's mind was this thing called tonality. And tonality is the way that you say something with your voice. For example, you can say the same word using different tonality and it instantly gives it different meanings. Let me give you an example. Let's say I want something from my wife. I can say, babe. It's a curious, empathetic tone. Or I can say, babe. It's an angry tone. Or I can say, babe, which is like a really frustrated tone. Now I use the same word, but the way that I said it was completely different. If your tonality is angry, frustrated, judgmental, a judgmental tone is like, babe. It's like you're judging someone. Babe, seriously, babe, very judgmental tone, right? So judgmental, angry, frustrated, frantic. If you use your voice like that, if you yell, if you raise your voice with any of those negative tones, that is a massive sin. Because as soon as you do that, what you're doing in a relationship is you're launching an attack. Now, this may not be intentional. I don't know about you, but there have been many times in my relationship where I say something to my wife and she says, don't talk to me like that. Now, my instant response, maybe you're different. My instant response is almost always, like what? I'm not talking to you like anything. You can hear the tonality. Because what happens is, by default, a lot of us let our emotions show in our voices. We've had a long day, we're stressed, we're under the pump, we're under pressure. That's when our tonality changes. The way we say things changes. We unintentionally, by default, because most of what you do is a pattern, attack through our language, what we say and how we say it. And because we throw an attack, the person who delivers or receives, that tonality, they have to defend. Because when someone feels attacked, they defend. So when they defend, they go, don't talk to me like that. And our response now, because we feel attacked, because they defended by deflecting it, now we defend back. Like what? I'm not talking to you like anything. This is so common in relationships. When we're trying to get someone towards an outcome, an employee does something wrong, what are you doing, you dickhead? Instead of saying, hey man, what's going on? How can I help you? Your wife's done something that you don't agree with. Why'd you do that? Oh, you never do it right? The choice of the words, the tonality is different. The solution here is very simple. Ask yourself, where in my life do I use negative tones of voice? Where am I angry, frustrated, stressed, triggered in my relationship with my children? A lot of dads yell at their kids. I saw this growing up as a child. Where do I use negative tonality with my partner or significant other? And where do I do this as a boss or a leader? Once you've identified where you do it, you got to start bringing awareness to it and shift to a tonality of curious empathy. Curiosity and empathy destroy any negative tonality. For example, you cannot be angry when you're curious. Let's say somebody does something to upset you on purpose. They name call you. Your wife says, you're a fucking idiot. When you get curious, you cannot be angry. This is how you do it. You go, man, it's so interesting. Listen to the tonality. It's so interesting that after 17 years of marriage, my wife and I still get into arguments and she calls me. When you become interested by something, it has no bearing over you because you're curious as to how it's even possible in the first place. Empathy is when you try and look at the situation without any negativity, especially in relationships, you're empathetic and understanding to that other person. A tonality of curious empathy destroys arguments, it destroys negativity, and it destroys the sin of negative tonality, which means that you communicate much better in relationships. So this sin is tonality or negative tonality, anger, frustration, using your voice as a weapon and just bringing awareness to where it's happening. And instead of going, cool, how can I be curiously empathetic here? Now this is hard to do in the moment. So the next time something triggers you, bring awareness to it, breathe, take a deep breath, and then just ask yourself, how can I be curiously empathetic? And play with the language, play with the words. We'll do an entire podcast on this, but it's extremely powerful to get rid of this sin. The fifth deadly sin is not making the time. Relationships are transactional. Whether you like it or not, they are an exchange of value. When you have friends as a child and as a teenager, you probably notice that as you get older, you start having less and less people in your circle, less and less people to rely on, and people that add value to your life. And that's exactly why it happens, because in the transaction of energy in that relationship, they don't add as much value as they used to. The things you're interested in change. They might still go out and drink, whereas you want to be professional and grow a business. I did this with a lot of my friends, and that's okay. That's how relationships work. However, if you are going to have someone in your circle, if you're going to be with a partner or wife, if you're going to raise children, if you're going to lead a team in your business or career, then those people by definition are going to be a part of your life. And if they're going to be a part of your life, you want to make sure that you don't just give them quality time, you give them quantity time. The problem for so many men, this happened to me, it's happened to hundreds of our clients, is that we get so busy with the rest of our life that we put less time, energy, and effort into our relationships, specifically with our partner or wife. And this isn't intentional. It happens right in front of our eyes. At the beginning, we have all this time, we have no kids, we have no stress, we're not trying to achieve goals. But over the years, you have children. That takes up a ton of time in the morning, during the day, in the evening, at nighttime. Then you get busy with work or the business. You have more employees or team members. We've got 14 now at the Empowered Man. There's fires to put out. Every single day is full of pressure and stress. And then after a long day, you come home, you're at the bottom of the barrel, you had no time for yourself, and you're tired. So you just want to put your feet up and do nothing. And by the time you get to your family, there's not much time left in the day. For a lot of men, their kids are already going to sleep or dinner is cold, and there's less and less time spent together. But we spend hours in the business, we spend hours in meetings, we spend hours on the finances, we spend hours on all these things that are not relationships. This deadly sin is huge. Every single one of us needs time, the people that we care about. It doesn't always have to be a lot of time. We need to make sure we make some time. So the solution here is very, very simple. Ask yourself, how much time each day and how much time each week do I invest in my partner or wife? Like, how much time do I spend with my partner or wife? How much time do I spend with my children? How much time do I spend on myself? And then you compare that time with how much time you spend on business. Like, I'll work 60, 70, 80 hours a week. No problem. God forbid I give 1 hour a day to my family where I'm present and focused. The question here is very simple. How much time do you spend on work and business? How much time do you spend in your intimate or personal relationships? And then all you got to do is take some of the time you spend on work and business and reinvest it into your family. We do this at the Empowered Man. We track it each week. We track how many meals you had present with your family. We track how much time you had outside of eating, where you actually enjoying life together. And we're just trying to get that number up. It might only be 10 minutes a day, then get to 15, then 20, then 30, then 40. Because, and I struggle with this as well, at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, you're not gonna go, fuck, I wish I worked more. You're gonna say, fuck, I wish I spent more time with my family and the ones that I love. If you're not making the time, the sin is showing up in your life. If you're too busy and you don't have enough time, you get to question that and see how you can make more time for your relationships. The sixth and final deadly sin that destroys relationships, avoid this at all costs, is a lack of presence. In the previous sin, we talked about quantity time, the amount of time, not making enough time for your relationship. However, you can make time for your relationship and then not actually be present in the moment. This has been me for years, and I struggle with this to this day. Even though I coach 180 men at the time of recording this on how to fix their marriage, reconnect with their children, and find work-life balance. We struggle with this as men because if you're a high performer, or if you're working hard to provide for your family, it means that every single day is full of problems and challenges. That's part of the role of expansion, of providing for your family, growing a business, making money, putting food on the table. There are a lot of things to do. And as you grow and become more successful, you reach new levels. And with each new level, there is a new devil, there's a new problem, there's a new challenge. So even if you decide to make the time for your relationships, it's so easy to struggle to switch off when you're there with your family. This is something I still struggle with to this day. I'll go downstairs after a long day and my brain is still in the past. It's still focused on the meeting I had or the person I fired or the money we spent or the things we need to do in the future. And because you're focused on what happened in the past or what hasn't been done or what could have been done better, and you're focused on the future, how things can be done differently, which is why we become successful because we're visionaries, it means that we're not present in the moment. And a lack of presence is a massive sin. How do you know if this is happening? You don't look someone in the eyes when you're talking to them. Your wife or partner says something and you forget what they say. You have no idea what you talked about. I still do this to this day. You aren't there with your children. Or for a lot of men, what happens is they're just scrolling on their phones at the end of the day. This is how a lot of guys switch off. We try and switch off our brain and we either do it through social media and screens, alcohol, drugs, porn, gambling. Why? Because we struggle to just be in the moment and to be still. And this is where it's so important to bring yourself back into the moment. The easiest way to do this, the easiest way to create presence in your relationship with your partner or wife, with your children, with your team, is to bring yourself back to the moment. And you do that in a few simple steps. One, as often as you can, remind yourself to just breathe. Deep breaths. I'll do that when I'm in mid-conversation with my wife. I'll just breathe really deep while I'm looking her in the eyes. So first step is breath. Second step, bring yourself to your surroundings. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear? Presence comes from being in tune with your senses. So what do you see with that person? Are you looking in their eyes? What do you feel when you're talking to them? What do you hear them say? And try and become hyper aware of what's going on with that person. Listen to them, hear them, see them, and bring awareness to that presence. When you pull out your phone, bring awareness to, fuck, I pulled my phone out again. When you go to the bathroom, bring awareness to, fuck, I brought my phone with me. And you're going to realize how often in life we have a lack of presence, especially in our relationships. For so many men, we can't switch off from the workday, which means we can't switch on for our family. It's very, very challenging to do. But simply bringing awareness to the moments that you have this lack of presence in itself is going to create more presence because awareness creates presence. And this is something, like I said, I still struggle with, but so many men do, and it's so easy to fix. If you have a lack of presence in your relationships, bring yourself back to the moment, be present, get all 5 senses, see it, hear it, feel it, smell it, touch it with that person in the moment. And there you have 6 of the many, because there's many, deadly sins that destroy relationships. You want to avoid these things at all costs. So let's recap each of them. What is the problem? What is the sin? And what is the simple fix you can utilize right now to fix it? Number 1 is judgment. Judging somebody for not being who you think they should be. They should, they need to, they have to be someone different. You have expectations of them, and when they don't meet them, you apply this gavel, the hammer, Judge Judy, Judge Dredd, judging that person, which creates a lack of confidence inside of them. It feels like they can never please you, and therefore they just end up giving up in the first place. How do you fix this? Whenever you notice yourself judging someone, just remind yourself to have acceptance and understanding. Be empathetic towards their situation instead of trying to change them or make them somebody different. Just remind yourself, love is the absence of judgment. How can I understand and love this person so that I can help them and support them in becoming a better human being? The second deadly sin, mind reading. When you think you know what somebody's feeling and thinking, when you try and read their mind, just ask yourself, what are the facts here? Let's clarify facts. We talk about this in our love meeting framework, which is a previous podcast episode. I'll link it down below. Obviously, we don't know what's going on in someone's head. Just ask, what's going on for you? How are you feeling? What can I do to support you? We've covered this in previous podcast episodes, but if you are mind reading, it's a massive sin, and the way you fix it is by clarifying fact. Number 3, swearing and name calling. If you are calling somebody names, swearing, demeaning them, putting them down, it is a mirror for you. It is an insecurity within you. It is a bully within you, and it's a part of you that doesn't serve you in any way, shape, or form. How do you fix this one? Bring awareness. Where in your life do you swear and name call towards someone in your relationships? And how can you fix that? Identify where it comes from and choose different language. The fourth one, tonality. How you say something is just as important as what you say. Use a tonality, a voice of curious empathy. You can't be negative. You can't attack when you're curious. Hey, what's going on for you? Is everything okay? I'd love to understand you more. It's that soft, curious tonality of voice that destroys this deadly sin of tonality. The fifth one, not making enough time, getting busy with work, business, and all these other commitments. Ask yourself, how much time am I spending in business and work? And then how much time am I spending in my relationship? And then just bring that number up. If it's 10 minutes, make it 12, then 15, then 30, until you find enough quantity in terms of time spent in that relationship. And the sixth and final one, a lack of presence, the quality of the time you spend with someone. Ask yourself, am I in the moment? Am I thinking about the past or the future, or am I present? How do you become present? Bring awareness to the moment. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? Look someone in the eyes, be there with them. Bring awareness to the moments where you stop doing that. Bring awareness to the times where you sedate with your phone, social media, and distractions. Bring yourself back to the moment. And those are the 6 deadly relationship sins. And there's a lot more to it than that. There's communication, connection, if it's your partner, sex and intimacy. But this is a good baseline. If you got value from this, then drop a like or 5 stars wherever you're listening. And if you'd like to improve your relationship, that's exactly what we do here at The Empowered Man. We help men fix their marriage or relationship, reconnect with their children, be a better leader, better husband, better father, and find work-life balance, meaning have a business that makes lots of money, have free time and freedom, have the health, wealth, and relationships you deserve as the best man you can be. So if you'd like to do that, then go down below. There'll be a link where you can book a coaching session with our Empowered Man team. And on that session, we'll customize our Empowered Man roadmap for you to have it all in your life. This is only for high-performing men who are crushing it and successful in business, but struggling in the other areas. So if you want to upgrade everything, go down below and book a coaching session. And we'll see you for the next episode of the Empowered Man podcast. If you're getting value from this content and you want to upgrade yourself, you want to fix your marriage or relationships, you want to find work-life balance, or you want to be successful and winning in life, then SMS the number on the screen right now saying upgrade. SMS upgrade to 0482 097 778. That's +61 482 097 778. SMS upgrade to +61 482 097 778. And what we'll do is we'll send you all of our best content on health, wealth, and relationships completely for free. So SMS the number on the screen right now to get on our list, and we'll send you all the stuff you need to win.